At the end of the day, my heart lies in education, and it lies in providing every kid equal access and opportunity to do anything that they want to do, whether it's a sport, theater, music, art, anywhere I can have my hand to make that happen. I really want to instill the motivation in other people to feel the same way. So I will drive that force until the day I die.
And greetings, everyone, and welcome to Buzz for Good, where we talk all things nonprofit, the people they serve and the good they do. And on today's show, we are featuring 3 great events happening next week that highlight the incredible diversity and richness of work engaged by nonprofit organizations in our community. I will be talking to representatives from the Roanoke Symphony Orchestra and its creative fundraiser to support its youth symphony programs. Also be talking with the Rotary Club of the Blue Ridge New Generations, which is hosting a fundraiser for brain injury support groups, and the Children's Trust, which works to eliminate child abuse. And we're going to provide a sneak listen to our newest Buzz television show airing May 3rd on Blue Ridge PBS, starring literacy volunteers of the New River Valley. But before we get to them, for all of you Virginia Tech Hokie fans out there, and really anyone who has been following college athletics and the introduction of name, image, likeness, or NIL deals for student athletes, make sure you tune in to our next show next week when we talk to the leaders behind one unique approach to compensating student athletes that in return has these athletes helping local nonprofits attract more awareness, donors, and volunteers to their cause. The effort behind this is a nonprofit in and of itself called The Hokie Way, and we will be talking to board president and longtime Virginia Tech fan, Jim Petrine. I am Michael Hemphill, creator and host of both this radio show as well as the TV show Buzz that airs on Blue Ridge PBS. Each episode features nonprofit organizations and provides them with donated or pro bono marketing resources from members of the American Advertising Federation of Roanoke. You can watch one of our 30 episodes that we have produced so far since 2020 on our website, buzzforgood.com. That's buzz, B-U-Z-Z, 4good.com. You can also stay connected with us throughout the week on our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, all at Buzz for Good. I want to thank our sponsors, the Roanoke Cultural Endowment, which is working to provide a long-term funding solution for arts and cultural organizations in Roanoke. More at roanokeculturalendowment.org. Next Thursday, April 27th, speaking of arts and cultural organizations, next Thursday, April 27th at 5:30 p.m. at Hotel Roanoke, you are invited to Painted Violins. What is Painted Violins, you might ask? Well, it's going to be Painted Violins, an artist reception, a free event where you can meet the artists who hand-painted 12 fabulous violins that are being raffled off over the next few weeks to raise funds for the educational and youth programs of the Roanoke Symphony Orchestra. Earlier this week, I got a sneak peek at these gorgeous instruments from Director of Education and Community Engagement, Hannah Cox. Hannah.
Hi, Michael. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for inviting me in to learn more about your violins.
Of course. Come on in.
Okay, let's take a look. Oh. These are lovely.
This is a selection of our violins. We have 6 of them out right now. There's 12 total.
Okay.
So right now we have some through downtown Roanoke. There's some out in Floyd. Then there's some that I don't have on display. But yes, they're beautiful.
They are beautiful. Lovely. Lovely. All right. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
So what's up with these violins?
So back about a year ago, we decided to bring this Painted Violins project back to fundraise money for our education programs here at the Symphony.
You say back, so it
around
has happened in the
20
past.
years ago this happened.
20 years ago?
It hasn't happened since.
Oh, wow.
It was the Symphony's plan to do this project before COVID happened. We had the stand set, we got the violins already. COVID happened, and there was some the craziness of all of that. And
Right.
we weren't able to bring the project back until this last year and decided to do so now. So I started working on collaborating with artists in the community to get the word out, to have artists submit their portfolios and applications to be selected to be one of the artists who paint the violins.
Okay.
We have a committee that works internally with the symphony and with some of the Arts Commission from the city of Roanoke to help select the violin painters and the artists that we worked with. And there was a 2-month period where they got a completely stripped violin. There was no varnish, just the solid wood itself.
Okay.
I brought them all over Southwest Virginia to deliver to the artists and said, have at it. You can paint whatever you want as long as the whole thing is painted. If you want to put the strings and the pegs back on it, you're welcome to do that. If you want to leave the strings off, you can do that. But that's the only direction I gave. And it resulted in 12 wildly unique pieces of art. There's not one that is like the other. And they're,
I can attest to that.
yeah,
right now.
they're
Right.
lovely. There's something for everybody here, every art style that you could possibly like. So
Well, they are absolutely gorgeous.
Thank
We're going to
you.
get to the individual artists in
Sure,
just a
sure.
minute, but the overall goal of this is so the artists painted these, they provided them back to the Roanoke Symphony, and now what?
And now we are raffling them off. So anybody in the community is welcome to win one of these violins if they
Okay.
purchase a raffle ticket. You could do the raffle tickets online, at our in-person events, at the box office here, at the symphony offices. And all of the money that we raise from the raffle tickets, again, goes back to the education department. So being able to provide further scholarships for students to attend our summer camps and our school year programming, to put instruments in kids' hands, give lessons to kids who might not be able to afford it but deserve it, to get teachers in the schools teaching string instruments and teaching these classes that are a little bit less accessible here in Roanoke. And the idea that we find importance in all of this is the idea of building back the symphony, building tomorrow's symphony, right?
Right.
We all are able to experience going to the symphony in a lot of cities in the country, and you look on stage and it's people who are 40, 50, 60 years old performing, and one day the people that are 10, 20, and 30 are going to replace those members of the orchestra on the stage. And if there's not a huge community and education and internal push from everybody to support youth music students and learning instruments from the time you're in 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, the symphony is going to just start to fizzle away because those musicians aren't being brought up through that organization.
Right.
Not that it has to look exactly the same as it does now, but there has to be growth and there has to be, a channel to funnel people through these musical ensembles. So our hope is to use the money raised from this raffle to help build that, to build up the symphony of tomorrow and to build up these kids and the passion and want that they have to participate in music and classical music and all music. So that's what all of it's about.
Last year, 2022, we did a TV episode on Roanoke's Roanoke Public Schools arts programs.
Nice.
And one of those was the string program. I had no idea that Roanoke had a string program for middle school and high school.
They do, and they have strings in some of the elementary schools as well, but it's few and far between.
Yeah.
A lot of, generally, I think this area and a lot of states in the South have such a big push on band because of the football and marching band and that sort of season and the community that comes with marching band. That string orchestras and string instruments become a little bit more accessible or inaccessible.
Yeah.
So in Roanoke City schools, there are just a handful of schools that do strings, right? Maybe, I think there's two of the high schools, 2 of the middle schools, and then 3 or 4 of the elementary schools do strings. And the rest is band and choir. So the symphony's hope is to provide an outlet for students who want to play strings, but maybe don't have it offered in their school program to participate in strings. So nobody is left out of the picture. If it's something that they want to do, they have a place to do it.
Well, it seems like the entry for someone who wants to play strings, is a little higher than it might be for others in terms of the cost of the instrument, the skill involved. I remember my mother, God bless her, when I was 5 years old, decided that I was going to take violin.
Sure.
And I took it for I don't know how many months. And it made just the most god-awful noise.
Well, it does that for about the first year. It doesn't matter how old you are. I think there's I mean, any instrument, you give a fourth grader a clarinet, it's going to take about a year for that sound to balance out and to establish within their playing. Same with violin. I mean, those first few years, it's a little bit funky.
It seems like there's especially something when it comes to a stringed instrument when it's not played well.
I agree.
It is awful.
But that's why we want to have more teachers and more people doing it so we can get past that point even faster.
Yes.
I'm a strings teacher, so I teach a lot of elementary violin, a lot of elementary cello, so I'm very used to having that aural sound around me, and I actually have grown to love it. It makes my heart so warm because you got to start there. Like, that's the sound of what it's going to be in 10 years, in 5 years, in 1 year when the kids are able to play, not as much as a beginner. So.
Sure. Well, you talk about this is raising money for that program.
Yes.
Is there one particular story that you can share about a child who has been impacted by this program that might inspire people to want to pay for a raffle ticket for this?
Sure. I mean, right off the top of my head, I think of a handful of students who have been involved with the symphony programs for 7-8 years. They started in our youngest ensemble called String Ensemble, and that's a place for elementary students and younger middle school students to gather to play orchestra music, which is not something that's super offered in the schools generally. And they were a part of these ensembles and then progressed into the chamber orchestra, which is the next level up, and then to the Roanoke Youth Symphony. And the people I'm thinking are sitting first, second, third chair at the Roanoke Youth Symphony. Some are planning on going off to major in music in college. They've won scholarships for their participation in music. And not that it's all owed exclusively to the symphony. There's their family that supports, their other teachers, their private teachers, their school classrooms generally, but knowing that the symphony had an impact on the trajectory of what all of these students wanted to do because of the programs we offer is wonderful. It's heartwarming to see because I was one of those kids once, and I grew up to be able to do music for my career, and seeing that the roles that I play and the things that I teach and the experience that I try and give to the kids in the community, that they can maybe in 10 years be in the same shoes that I'm in, where they're doing music for fun, but it's also their life. So it's very heartwarming. That's really the best word to say.
Excellent. So one more time, I'm joined here on Buzz for Good by Hannah Cox, the Director of Community Engagement and Education for the Roanoke Symphony Orchestra, talking about their Painted Violins program or fundraiser that they have going on right now. Yes. And I am at Roanoke Symphony Orchestra's office with some of these painted violins on display, and they are absolutely gorgeous. All funding is going to go towards their youth education program. So let's rewind a little bit. You provided all these violins to a select group of artists. It wasn't just an artist raising his or her hand saying, hey, I'll do this.
There were about 50 artists who submit applications, and we sat as a committee and went through all of the applications to pick who the 12 were going to be, which was definitely difficult. But by the end of it, all 4 people on the committee had the same 12 artists selected.
Amazing.
It was amazing. All of us were looking at each other like, did we make a mistake? How do we all have the same 12 people?
Well, what were the criteria?
It was pretty loose, honestly. It was that you are an artist, that you have some sort of art to share, and we didn't have any specific, you have to have done this, and this in your art career. It was whatever age you are, you can submit, and we ask that you share 3 pieces of work that you've created and a little statement about why you want to participate in this project, a resume, and then that was it. And we just went based off of that.
Well, I want to talk about the artists who were selected in a moment, but first, I mean, you had 38 people who basically raised their hands and say, yeah, I would love to help the Roanoke Symphony, and they were not selected.
Yes.
So how was that communication handled with them?
I had sent emails out to everybody, or through the whole process. It's been very transparent, and I mean, we advertised right from the beginning that there were only 12 options here, or 12 opportunities here, and we got way more applications than we really could have anticipated, which is great. The project really resonated with people. But I had sent personal emails out to everybody just saying, we're going to do this again at some point. Please apply. It's nothing personal against anyone. It's just we had to pick what fit the best. And another thing we were really thinking about was what would be the most marketable and general that people would enjoy, because there were some artists who submitted very specific styles of art that might not resonate with the great mass of people, like some of the ones we tried to select, because we're trying to raise the most money that we can. It had to be a little delicate, I assume, though.
But still, the artists who were selected obviously are extremely talented.
Oh, yes, it's been wonderful to work with them.
Give me some of the names.
So here...
Or all of the names.
Sure. You're going to quiz me with 6 of them that aren't out, but I will try my hardest.
Okay.
This here is done by an artist out in Czech, Virginia. His name's Stephen Kenny.
Okay.
He is just an incredibly prolific artist. Right now, I believe he has a solo gallery opening in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, his work is incredible. It's his hyper-realistic work of natural scenes.
Yeah, so he's almost turned the violin into a tree. And so the neck of the tree is or the neck of the violin.
Yeah, is the bark, and
bark
then the antlers up here replacing the pegs. It's
right.
Just the detail work is unbelievable.
And on the front of it is it's lovely. Is a male cardinal and I guess a female. Is that a female cardinal or is that a robin?
I think it's a robin.
Yeah.
He wrote it up in his description, so
Okay.
I can check and get back to you on that.
So it's beautiful. All right,
Yes.
next up we have...
This is by an artist named Alexandra Leonetti. She is a new professor of art at Radford University.
Okay.
So she did she focuses on oil painting and hyper realism here. And this style of art, I mean, blows my mind the most. I'm not a visual artist by any means, but there is not a world that I could paint something in oil that looks like a picture. So
Yeah, right.
I just think that's so incredibly impressive.
It's gorgeous.
But,
yeah. All right, and then we have, looks like the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Exactly
painted
that.
on the
So
violin.
this is by an artist named Janet Wimmer. She lives out in Blue Ridge. She has an art studio in her home that she runs. So does a lot of oil painting, teaches a lot of art classes like that. And her specialty is painting the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Oh.
So when she submitted her application, she noted that she had painted, I believe, like over 300 paintings of the Blue Ridge Parkway. So we were like, oh my gosh, everybody loves the Parkway. That would resonate wonderful. And it's a gorgeous piece of work. So my favorite part is on the tailpiece here, she painted to line up with the road.
Yeah, very nice.
So it stands out. And
and
then
it's
the back,
front and back painted.
Yes.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yes.
Yes. I'm going to buy a ticket and I want that one.
You're not alone.
Yeah, right. But then we move on to
This is the most impressionistic one we have. So obviously done with a palette knife, very textural on it. And this is done by an artist named Kay Sutherland. She's done a decent amount of work in the Roanoke area. And if you notice, and it takes, I think, a second for the eye to see it, but it's 2 people and then dancing, and the whole bottom of the violin is the woman's dress, with the top acting as the chandelier in the room and everything. So it's one where from far away, it's just this beautiful colors and piece of work, but the more you look at it, the more the story comes to life, and it's lovely.
Okay, I'll take that one too.
Okay, sounds good.
And then we have...
Here we have Avni Patel's. She is a metal worker and jewelry maker. And actually 2 of her 2 kids are in the youth symphony programs that we have. They both play violin themselves. They're a great family. I love them. And I was so excited when she submitted an application because I love her work. But the detail work on it, it's very more henna style.
Yeah.
And it's just black in the back. But I think it's stunning.
Yes.
I always say, I have a different favorite violin every single day.
Right.
But it's often that I come back to this one being one that I really, really love. I just think it would go well in any home, any decor, any style that you have.
Yeah, just that white on black is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And then one more here.
And this is by another artist out in Blue Ridge. Her name is A.D. Herzl.
Okay.
She works a lot in D.C., and all of her work is based around this gold with fine graphite work. So this is another one from Kay Sutherland's here. From afar, it's beautiful. It's gold. You can see some detailing on it, but it really is when you get up close and personal that you see just how much detail is on this, down to the drawing on the bridge, the carved out fingerboard here. She used a Dremel to do all of that, so it's a little bit more textural. So this one I also just think is unbelievable.
It is stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Yes.
And these are just half of the violins.
These are just half of them, yes.
What's the deal? I noticed that one of the artists, Stephanie Klein Davis, a friend of mine, we were at the Roanoke Times together many years ago when she was the one of the staff photographers there. Oh, and you have her.
I do have
Oh,
hers.
well, let's take a look. In the case
There's
here.
a 50-50 chance that this is it.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
So, yes, none of them are tuned. They're not playable. So if you
Okay.
did play them, they sound like that. It's not great.
Yeah,
They're
right.
just visual pieces of art. But Stephanie took her personal photographs of ginkgo leaves and printed them onto the violin, drawing with gold on top of all the prints. And then the same with the neck here, giving it a very Art Deco look from far away. And then just a basic black on the back, signature on the back. So again, I mean, this one you can put out with all the rest of them, and it has that same contrast, everything like that. So
wow.
Yes.
Wow. All right, one more time, we're joined here on Buzz for Good by Hannah Cox, who is the Director of Community Engagement and Education for the Roanoke Symphony Orchestra, talking about their painted violins fundraiser that they have that's been showcased at various locations throughout Southwest Virginia over the last month or so. And they have an event coming up, an artist reception.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So on April 27th at 5:30 at Hotel Roanoke, we're having an artist reception at the bar 1882 and the Peacock Room, Pine Room Alley, all of that sort of spot in the hotel.
Right.
A handful of our artists are coming. Off the top of my head, I think it's 9 or 10 of the artists will be there.
Okay.
All 12 of the violins will be there on display. And we have some, you can buy raffle tickets for the violins there. We have some reception prizes for people who come and stay, that if you sign into the reception, you're eligible to win one of these prizes, which is really neat. And we invited teachers, principals, the families that work with us, the families of the students who work with us. And then we've just been blasting it all over social media. So it's a free event. Anybody can come. No age limit or anything. Open to the public.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just want to get as many eyes on these violins as possible for the symphony and for our fundraiser, but also for all the individual artists as people and having careers themselves. So really trying to bring the community together on a lot of different artistic fronts, visually and aurally.
All right, so one more time, that's April 27th.
Thursday, April 27th.
At Hotel Roanoke in the Pine Room
area. The bar
area. Right.
At 5:30.
5:30.
Yep.
Okay, and it's free, open
to the public.
Come meet the artists.
Come
see the violins.
Yep.
And ideally buy some raffle tickets.
Yep.
Raffle
Have
tickets,
a drink if you would like.
Yes. Raffle tickets are $25 per ticket.
$25 per ticket, or you can get 5 tickets for $100.
So you're giving away a ticket with $100, right?
Yes, sir. That's it.
Do you have a goal in mind for this fundraiser?
We're hoping that we hit around the 10,000 mark for money-wise. Number of tickets depends on. I haven't done that deep calculation yet. Maybe I should.
No. It's more the
around
the funding.
around the funding,
around
$10,000. 10,000.
And that 10,000 once again would support what and for how long?
The education department in the program. So the luxury of hopefully having this money come in, and we're well on our way there. Excellent. Already.
Good.
Yeah, so the benefit of having it come in like this is that we can use or say, oh, this is a really wonderful idea for a project for the 2023-2024 school year, or we can take this money and balance it out over the next few years so that we're able to spread it as far as we can. So ideas that we have are rolling, but nothing super set in stone for what's going to happen with it. I think we were waiting to see what the project would yield and result in anyway before we started thinking more big picture in the future about that. But I can say with absolute certainty scholarships to send kids to camp and to be a part of the youth symphony and the string ensemble, hiring teachers, doing programs in the schools, and paying teachers to go into the Roanoke City and Roanoke County schools to teach string instruments. So those are things that are for sure happening and will continue to happen year after year. But with anything other than that, that's up to our creativity and what we think is the most beneficial thing for the students we serve.
Excellent. So if you're listening to this, even if you can't attend the event or see one of these violins in person, trust me, they are absolutely gorgeous. If you were to go into a local art store or gallery and see one of these violins, you would be spending, I would assume, at least $100 or at least hundreds of dollars, if not 1,000 more for the quality of the art that is here and the quality of and caliber of the artists who painted these. They are absolutely stunning. So for just a $25 raffle ticket,
I know you might be able to have it in your home. Beautiful piece of art.
You could purchase these tickets online, I assume?
Yes, and with all of the ticket purchasing, you purchase tickets to a specific violin that you want. It's not a general raffle. If you're purchasing tickets and you really want Stephen Kenny's violin, you can put all your eggs in that basket. So it's really very self-selective, whatever you would like to do. The raffle runs until May 7th.
Okay.
Or it will close online on May 4th because I'll have to compile all the online stuff.
Okay.
And then in person, you can buy them at the box office or at any concerts that the RSO has between now and May 7th.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So online, and you would go to, what's the website?
The rso.com/painted violins. And if you want even easier, if you Google painted violins Roanoke, it'll just pop up.
All right. So that's rso.com, and then go to Painted Violins, and you can purchase raffle tickets online. You can also purchase them at their artist reception on April the 27th, 5:30 p.m. at Hotel Roanoke. Or at any RSO performance coming up. And those performances are what?
We have one Friday, April 28th at the Salem Civic Center, and that's our tribute to John Denver concert.
John Denver.
So, I mean, that's a great concert to go to anyway.
Is anybody singing at the John Denver concert?
Yes, Jim Curry is his name.
Okay.
He's a John Denver tribute artist.
Okay, wonderful.
So that'll be a great show, of course.
Okay.
And then on May 7th is our final Masterworks concert for the season. And we're doing Beethoven's Choral Fantasy. So it's one of his preceding works to the Ninth Symphony. You know the Ninth Symphony, massive piece of music.
Joyful, we adore.
Yes, that's it, exactly. So that will be the closing day of the raffle. So during intermission is when we're drawing the winners for all of the violins. But you would be able to buy tickets before that concert.
Okay, and that's on May 7th.
May 7th, Sunday.
Okay. All right. Well, wonderful. And I assume you don't have to be in attendance to
You do
win.
not have to be in attendance.
Okay.
I have all your contact information, so if you're not there and you win, I'll give you a phone call the next day.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Anything else that we're missing here that you want people to know about this wonderful, beautiful, fantastic event?
Just that I've worked so hard on it, and these artists have worked so hard on it.
So for no other reason.
Well,
support Hannah.
Yes. No.
And all these artists who
all
have
of the kids
donated
in this
their time and
community
talent.
deserve only the best. And if this is one way that I personally in the symphony can give the kids something that is the best, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that that happens. Like, at the end of the day, my heart lies in education, and it lies in providing every kid equal access and opportunity to do anything that they want to do, whether it's a sport, theater, music, art, anywhere I can have my hand to make that happen. I really want to instill the motivation in other people to feel the same way. So I will drive that force until the day I die.
Well, thank you so much once again here on Buzz for Good, Hannah Cox, Director of Community Engagement and Education for the Roanoke Symphony Orchestra. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate yours.
Good luck with the painted violins.
Thank you. Thank you.
From the Roanoke Symphony to brain injury survival, and really only in the nonprofit world can you pivot that quickly, I am going to turn our Buzz for Good conversation today to another event happening next Saturday, April 29th at Lock Haven Lake called the Rock Haven Music Festival. It's the first such event, and it's being organized by the Rotary Club of the Blue Ridge New Generations. And here I'm talking to the event organizer, Tony Alois, and board president, Blaine Elliott. And Blaine starts our conversation by sharing his family's personal and tragic incident that inspired his desire to support Brain Injury Services of Southwest Virginia.
So my wife Riley and I and our 3 kids and our dog Jack all went on an excursion one Saturday morning to Bedford, Falling Park, where they have a mountain bike course up there. And Riley, being the brave soul she is, decided to try one of the obstacles for a mountain bike, and she fell and had a horrible wreck on one of the obstacles and hit her head pretty hard. And she was wearing a helmet, so we were doing all the right things, but the way she hit was kind of awkward, the way she landed, and all the force, her head just took everything, because she kind of landed head first. And that caused what we now know as a traumatic brain injury, to where she needed to be helicopter lifted to the emergency room, where a surgery was implemented right away to save her life. They basically said, hey, if we don't do this, you're probably going to lose Riley. And so, of course, we said, yes, go do it. Let's make it happen. And she had a craniectomy, where they take a piece of your skull out to let some of the fluid that had filled her head release. So that was the traumatic brain injury. And so we've been I guess that was November of 2020. And since that day, as you can imagine, our whole family dynamic has kind of changed. Not so much for the worse, it's just different, right? And we've had to adjust, and we've had to make a lot of decisions and try to deal with what we'll call this our new family dynamic, if you will. And we've got a lot of challenges along the way on how to deal with a traumatic brain injury and what that is and what we've been through. And the inspiration is to go back and say, hey, look, this is what we've been through. Let's create awareness around this so that maybe we can allow others who may experience something like this. It's an unfortunate thing, but maybe help smooth out some of the bumps and create awareness around it.
Do you mind sharing of how the brain injury manifested itself?
I don't. So basically, when she hit her head, it was just a big blow to the head. So that was the actual injury. That's why they call it traumatic injury, because it was a blow to the head. It caused, for lack of a better term, a brain bleed in her head, inside her brain. And that bleed was aggressive, fast, furious, to the point where 45 minutes later, she was experiencing headaches and some blurry vision, and then felt very tired, and all of a sudden pretty much just passed out on me, and I could not bring her back to consciousness. So Brain Injury Services of Southwest Virginia is basically a free service to anyone who may need them to help assist with dealing with a traumatic brain injury. And it's soup to nuts, it's everything. It covers just about anything you may need assistance with, from a support group, a mentor, all the way to actually supplies in your house that you may need, depending on the situation who had an injury. And it's just an incredible resource that we stumbled upon. I'll tell you, our personal experience with Brain Injury Services in Southwest Virginia is not a lot, because when we reached out and we were taken on as a case, it was right in the middle of COVID, and staff was short, and so we were on a waiting list. And then when we finally were able to get in touch with them and they were able to take us on as a case, we had already discovered another resource that we didn't know about, which is the Brain Injury Center at Carilion with Dr. Wepner and what he's doing. And it's actually amazing. And it was at the time very new. And we said, absolutely, let's explore that option. And ever since then, we have felt like we have been on the right path. We found direction and kind of meaning in what we're doing next. Because there for a while, we were lost and we didn't know how to deal with next steps after we graduated from physical therapy and all the other therapies Riley was exposed to. And so Dr. Wepner kind of swooped in and kind of said, okay, let's figure out where we're going next, and helped us with next steps, direction, and other appointments, kind of a project manager, if you will, for Riley's recovery.
Outstanding. And so out of that inspired you and your club to host this first ever Rockhaven Music Festival. Been talking with Blaine Elliott, whose wife experienced a traumatic brain injury, which ultimately led to him forming starting the Rockhaven Music Festival at Lockhaven Lake, which is next Saturday, April 29th. And joining him in this effort is Tony Aloise with the Rotary Club of the Blue Ridge New Generations. Tony, tell me about the event.
Sure. So last year, when Blaine took the presidency of our Rotary Club, he wanted to bring back a signature event. And during COVID, our club, which I joined in early 2021, was like a lot of other civic organizations, mothballed. So not a whole lot was going on, but last year we were starting to come out, and we wanted to get back to doing a signature event. And with Blaine's experience with his wife, he had this idea, in his mind to do a music festival to support the organizations and bring awareness to brain injury services. So we started to do a little brainstorming during the summer, and about August, September, October timeframe, we started getting at it. We're a very small club. We only have about 19 members.
Wow.
But everyone pitched in. There was a group of 3 members who really hit the preliminary stage really hard to start talking to bands, vendors, the location of Lock Haven Lake that came from Blaine. But as we've moved forward through this process of a very large event that it's been a major undertaking for such a small group, to put on a one-day event with 5 bands, 4 food trucks to benefit both Brain Injury Services of Southwest Virginia and a second organization called Headstrong Support Group Headstrong Brain Injury Support Group of Southwest Virginia. They're a support group run by a number of Carilion physicians, not officially associated with Carilion, but the individuals running it are physicians, and they essentially help those who are still working through their brain injuries post-treatment, and those close to them, friends, families, those who experienced the event with them and are still helping them.
Gotcha. Well, tell us about the event. What's going to be you got a bunch of bands. Share
Yes.
more about about this so people will be inspired to go.
Yes, so we'll have 5 bands. 4 of them are local to the Roanoke area. The bands start at 1 p.m. Our gates open at noon. The first to open it all off will be Chasing Fall. They play jam and rock. Then Jordan Harmon, he's from Roanoke, and he will have his full band with him.
Wow.
Their specialty is soul music.
Yep.
Then we'll have the Floorboards. They will be the middle of the 5 bands. They play alternative, Americana, country, indie, and rock. And then at 6:15, we'll have Murdy and the Monumentals out of Salem. They play country, rock, blues, and R&B. And then the headliner we're really excited about, coming from Richmond, Virginia, Audacity Brass Band. They'll be taking the stage at 8, and they have a New Orleans style funk with some jam influenced rock behind them. And so we'll have music playing all day, and between these sets, while other bands are getting set up, we'll have survivors tell their stories and other speeches to be given. So there'll be something going on at all times. We do have the 4 food trucks. We have Donnie D's Bagels and Deli, Empanada Nirvana, Giggles of the Bus, and Sycamore Snacks.
Lovely.
And we will have craft and domestic beers on tap from PA Short Distributing.
Excellent. All right, and the cost to attend is what?
$20. And
$20.
You can find them on our Eventbrite, or you can purchase them at the gate.
Okay, $20 through Eventbrite or the gate. Event starts at 12 noon on Saturday, April 29th, and goes until 10 p.m. that night with food trucks, 5 different bands, and all proceeds will benefit Brain Injury Services of Southwest Virginia, as well as there's another organization. Which is it?
Headstrong Brain Injury Support Group.
And one more time, I'm talking with Tony Alois and Blaine Elliott with the Rotary Club of the Blue Ridge New Generations, which is hosting this spectacular event happening at Lock Haven, the Rock Haven Music Festival.
One thing is parking. We've had a lot of questions around parking, and this might be important. We're parking at Valley Word Church on Lock Haven Drive, which is about a mile from Lock Haven Lake entrance, and we have 2 shuttles running all day that'll get you to and from. So that's important to know. If you're coming and you want to come day of, go to Valley Word Church to park, and then catch the shuttle to Lock Haven, and we'll get you in the gate there.
Okay. Great tip. Thank you so much. I mean, this is a huge event that people are going to be able to experience for just $20. I imagine you've got a lot of great sponsors helping covering some of the costs of this event.
We absolutely do. And Tony, would you help me out with the sponsors, since you maybe have a list in front of you?
Sure thing. We have R.M. Johnson and Sons Jewelers. We have the Rotary Club of Salem. They were our sponsor club back in 2012 when our club was chartered.
Okay.
So they've been a big sponsor for us. We have First Citizens Bank, Kemba Federal Credit Union, Balzer and Associates, Earthright Mid-Atlantic, and Vested Partners.
Outstanding. You know, we did an episode of Buzz, our TV show on brain injury services of Southwest Virginia, a little over a year ago. So kudos to you guys for helping that organization. And I know, Blaine, you know, it was through a personal tragedy involving your wife that led to your desire to help, you know, create this event. But I imagine it also involved the whole Rotary Club of the Blue Ridge New Generations to put this on. What would you like to share about your club?
Well, I tell you what, the Rotary Club of Blue Ridge New Generation is a unique club. It's not a traditional Rotary Club that you might think of. We are geared and marketed towards young professionals who may be just out of college or starting to solidify a career. And that is our target market for our members. And I think it's an exciting time to join Rotary when you're younger. So that's kind of our staple when we think about, that's why we have the tagline New Generation. And that's kind of the point. Yeah, and it's exciting. There's a lot of energy in our club. We've got a lot of momentum coming out of COVID and kind of rebuilding who we are. So it's a super exciting time to join a civic organization that really wants to better their community that we live in. And our motto in Rotary is service above self.
Beautifully put. For more information about your club, where would people go?
You know, the best place to really find information is on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, and it is Rotary Club of the Blue Ridge New Generation.
And I would assume to see your club in action, you ought to go to Rock Haven Music Festival on Saturday, April 29th, to see all the great work that you guys are doing, especially in this case around brain injury services.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll be there. The majority of our club will be there, pitching in, volunteering at different stations. We might check you in, we might serve you a beer, or just help you out with whatever you need.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much again. Once again, that's the Rock Haven Music Festival at Lock Haven Lake on Saturday, April the 29th from 12 noon to 10 p.m., featuring 5 different bands, 4 from the Roanoke area, and then a headliner from Richmond. There will be food trucks. There will be locally crafted beer. It's going to be a spectacular event only for $20. Some great sponsors that are helping do all this, and all proceeds will benefit Brain Injury Services of Southwest Virginia and Headstrong Brain Injury Support Group. Anything that I'm missing here, gentlemen?
One thing I think we should mention is that kids under 12 can attend free of charge, and we'll have a play area with sidewalk chalk, games, bubbles, and a bounce house free of charge.
Thank you so much. And again, you can purchase tickets at the gate or online through Eventbrite, and just look up Rock Haven Music Festival on Saturday, April the 29th. Well, thank you both so much again, and many thanks to the Rotary Club of the Blue Ridge New Generations for caring about our community enough to do something this meaningful, especially for those who suffer brain injuries. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One more time, make sure you tune in next week to our Buzz for Good that will feature a nonprofit you probably have not heard about, but one that is making a huge impact on the present and future of Virginia Tech athletics. So, for instance, why are Elizabeth Kitley, And Hunter Couture returning to the Hokie basketball teams next year? Well, find out next week on Buzz for Good. But for this week, we now turn from an event supporting brain injury services to one highlighting our community's child abuse prevention efforts. And again, only in the nonprofit world can you talk about these things back to back. We are going to share another event happening next Saturday, April 29th at Mount Zion AME Church that's being co-hosted by the Children's Trust. All right, it's my pleasure to have here on Buzz for Good, Sammy Radar, who is the Court-Appointed Special Advocate, or CASA, Director for Children's Trust. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Before we talk about your great event happening on Saturday, April 29th, share with us a little bit about what the Children's Trust is and what is the CASA program.
Sure, I'd love to. So Children's Trust is a local nonprofit agency here in Roanoke where we only seek to serve children who have been abused and neglected. And our agency has 5 programs that works to reduce that abuse and neglect in our community. First up, we have Children First, which is a prevention program. And we offer child abuse prevention classes to children in local elementary schools. And we also train adults who work with children, and that training program is called Stewards of Children. We also have Healthy Families, which is a national home-based, evidence-based family support and coaching program that supports parents and helps them create stable environments for their children. We also have our Children's Advocacy Center, which is a child-friendly facility that is specifically designed to help reduce the trauma that children can experience during the investigation and prosecution of abuse. We also have CASA program, which I am the director of, which stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. And our program trains and supervises volunteers who are appointed by local judges to advocate for the best interests of children in court. And last but not least, our agency, Children's Trust, is the backbone for the Roanoke Valley Trauma-Informed Community Network. And this network, we provide education and training to other agencies who are invested in helping trauma-informed advocacy here. So Children's Trust has an array of services that we can offer for the community.
Wow. April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. I would hope that every month is Child Abuse Prevention Month. But why April in particular?
So April was just a month that was nationally chosen and recognized to be a month to provide education and awareness about this unfortunate thing that happens to children in our community. And you may have noticed pinwheels around our community.
Yeah.
So the blue and silver pinwheels are actually a national symbol for Child Abuse Prevention Month. So we hope that people have enjoyed seeing those throughout our area as well.
Okay. All right. Well, and so on April 29th, which is next Saturday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., you are putting on the community celebration at Mount Zion AME Church. What else happening that day?
So we are very excited to offer this to our community. It's the first time we've ever had this event, and excited to be partnering with our friends at Mount Zion. We're going to have both Roanoke City and County Sheriff's Department there. Blue Ridge PBS will be there with their fantastic character Pip. And we have Virginia Tech Hokie football players that'll be joining us. We have music, we have games going on. So just all sorts of exciting things for families to do. We just want to make it a fun day where people can come out and join us and just have a good day.
How lovely. And this is a completely free event for all attendees.
Yes, and we will be having some games and prizes going on. We'll be raffling off some items as well. We have Monica Brooks from KNIA2 who will be joining us. We have a DJ going all day with us. We'll have a bouncy house activity as well.
Wonderful. For more information about this event, where would people want to go?
So people can visit our website, which is www.roact.org.
Okay, ROA for Roanoke and CT for Children's Trust.org. Joined here on Buzz for Good by Sammy Radar, who is the director of the court-appointed special advocates program for Children's Trust. What else do you want people to know about Children's Trust? Is it all kind of depressing work, or I mean, are there some stories of hope and uplift that you like to share?
I think the best thing about Children's Trust is that we provide an array of services that ranges from prevention all the way to advocacy. So that includes prevention, intervention, education, and advocacy. And there's no other program like ourselves in this area, and we actually serve Botetourt and Craig counties. We serve the city of Roanoke, city of Salem, Roanoke County. Our Children's Advocacy Center actually has 3 locations. We have one in Roanoke, one in Bedford, and New River Valley and Carroll County.
Okay. Well, one more time, on April 29th, Saturday at Mount Zion AME Church, the Children's Trust is going to be hosting a community celebration that will feature activities, games, prizes, as well as visits by Pip from Blue Ridge PBS, the Roanoke City and Roanoke County Sheriff's offices, as well as some Virginia Tech football players. How did they get involved?
So it just so happens that our Director of Prevention, Jeanette Craighead, her brother is a former Virginia Tech football player, and his name is Jarrett Ferguson. And he's a huge supporter of ours, and he is one who is able to help us with that connection. So we're very grateful for his support.
Wonderful. Well, once again, this event is completely free for all attendees, so please make an effort to attend on April 29th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Mount Zion AME Church. For more information, you can visit their website, roact.org. Sammy, thank you so much again for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. I definitely appreciate it.
Lastly, on today's show, we have been buzzing the last couple of months on an episode of our TV show, Buzz, featuring literacy volunteers of the New River Valley and the marketing services that have been donated to the organization by Blacksburg-based WordSprint. That episode airs May 3rd on Blue Ridge PBS, and we will be hosting a free watch party in Blacksburg at McLean's Theater that evening at 6 p.m. So 6 p.m., May 3rd. More information about that event on our website, buzzforgood.com, BUZZ4good.com. In the remaining time on today's show, I want to play the start of that episode featuring the amazing people who lead literacy volunteers and, if I may say, the even more amazing people who have had the courage and dedication to take advantage of their services.
For most people, the ability to read and write comes so naturally that we forget these are skills we had to learn as kids. But for immigrants from other countries, as well as native-born folks who struggled in school, the lack of literacy can be crippling. On today's episode of Buzz, we are featuring a nonprofit whose mission is to help these adults with the English literacy they need to navigate our healthcare system, get a driver's license or GED, or simply read to a grandchild. We're also going to provide this nonprofit with a marketing and rebranding boost using a scheme straight from its playbook that features the power of words.
My name is Linda Jilk, and I'm a program coordinator with Literacy Volunteers of the New River Valley. I've been with the organization for more than 10 years in different roles, and I love this job.
Literacy Volunteers of the New River Valley is a nonprofit organization that fosters, supports, advocates for, and instructs adults in helping them reach their goals for independence.
The education is tailored to what the person needs. As much as possible, we personalize our approach because everybody needs something a little different, and we bring our experiences to our classes. So we want to recognize those and build on those and help them work with the learner to be successful.
People who lost jobs but didn't have the skills to apply for new ones, were able to get jobs. People who weren't able to understand information about COVID precautions or testing or vaccination were able to get that information. We have parents who are now able to talk to doctors about their children, parents who are now able to go to a parent-teacher conference and feel comfortable with communicating, and parents that can now read to their children. So it's, what we're doing has more of an impact than just the adult. We're changing lives, families, and communities.
Literacy Volunteers was founded to help folks who dropped out of school and lacked reading skills, or, in the case of Keisha Jones, a high school diploma.
I dropped out of school when I was 16 years old. I got pregnant when I was 18. I just basically lived my life with my daughter, and then I just kept having kids. So I never focused on it until I realized that I wanted my kids to see me graduate, so they would graduate. My graduation day, I was so nervous and anxious because I was making a speech. But we got there and they put us in our caps and gowns, and my kids is up recording me, and like, "Go, Mom!" Like, that's all I could hear. Like, it was a beautiful moment. I have this down pat. I got this in my head. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm completing, and this is what I gotta do. I can't wander off somewhere else because I'm not gonna complete it. So I'm staying on point, staying on focus, and as long as I do that, I know I'm gonna be somebody one day.
Think you're somebody right now. Yeah.
That means a lot.
Today, though, Literacy Volunteers strives to meet the larger demand from immigrants who are seeking a better life in a foreign country with a strange language. People like Norma Garcia, who journeyed from Mexico in 2009.
I used to say, "I'm sorry, my English is not too good, but I will do my best." But now I'm like, I speak English. How can I help you? I talk too much, and I have to take advantage of that. And I know lots of people, lots of Latinos, that they don't speak any English, even if they're here for about maybe 20, 30 years. And I feel amazing the way I can just be the bridge for them to communicate to others. So whatever you need me to help you out, I will do. Like lawyers, immigration lawyers, criminal lawyers, family lawyers, civil lawyers, maybe social service. Even if you need to go to the dentist, I can help you with that.
So advanced is her English now. In 2022, Norma started her own translation business, Language Solutions.
I would say I'm not really proud yet, and actually I told my mom, "This is not me, this is you, because you worked so hard for me to be here now, because if it was for me, I might not be here." But it was my mom who always pushed me and told me that you better than that, you can do better. Without Literacy Volunteers, I will be flipping burgers, which is nothing wrong with that job, but I want something better for my life. And I love the way when sometimes I translate in jail, they open the doors for me.
Bastante, no cabe.
I'm very proud of her. I cannot explain how proud I am.
Could you try?
¿Usted puede expresarlo?
Sí. Así es.
Just like that.
Thank you.
Gracias.
All right, folks, that's it for today's Buzz for Good. One last time, make sure you tune in next week to our Buzz for Good that will feature the Hokie Way and my conversation with Board President Jim Petrine, who will share his efforts and the Hokie Way's efforts to attract and keep the best talent to represent Virginia Tech on the field or court, while also helping our region's nonprofits attract more donors and volunteers to their cause. Talk about a Buzz for Good. Bye now.